So you're all over the place now.
Well, it's starting to grow. I mean, the model is there, and we have good sponsors like Poliquin and Atlantis and Watson. So that helps out a lot. But it's going very fast. I mean, the number of full-time instructors we have is increasing dramatically. And then
are these all people that you certify, these instructors?
Pardon me?
You've certified all these instructors who run the programs?
Well, all of them have done at least level 4 on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I got my top 2 instructors were one of them was Olympic record holder, and the other one was national team record holder in hammer throw.
Wow.
So we have multiple time national teams. So those guys, command a lot of respect when they teach classes because they've also produced on their own Olympic medalists.
Where do you operate out of mostly, though, personally?
Rhode Island.
Okay, so you're mostly in Rhode Island, and do you live there predominantly?
Half and half between Colorado and Rhode Island.
Are you in Colorado because of the?
No, because my daughter lives there.
Oh, your daughter lives there. It sounded like it might have been a good story, but no.
Yeah, and actually, the Olympic Training Center. I'm a sponsor of a lot of different national teams, but I'm not directly associated with them. It's just so many, I got so many hours in a day.
Right. No, I understand. How did you wind up in Rhode Island, of all places?
The thing is my business partner is from there, and then we needed a place on the East Coast so that because of time zones,
mm-hmm.
if we were in, let's say, Arizona or California, we would miss out a lot on European business, for phones.
Gotcha.
So because 70% of our clientele is actually European.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and then of course Australia because of the time difference. So it's easier for us to be. When we were in Arizona, we missed out on a lot of opportunities. Even though people like email, some people would prefer to talk to you in voice.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be on Eastern Standard Time Zone. I mean, we could have been in Florida, but the thing that's nice with Rhode Island is that we're in between New York and Boston, so
sure.
It doesn't prevent people from flying in. And we just had an hypertrophy boot camp, and we had people from Italy and Australia and all over the place. So it's good,
Do you have a gym? Do you have a gym down in the Dominican Republic?
No, that's a place where I would love to open very soon.
Yeah.
We have a lot of students there that are very successful, but it's a place where I wouldn't mind opening up.
I thought I heard a rumor you were going to open one up because Milo Sarshev is down there now, and he's training people down there.
Yeah, it's a place that I've been very seriously looking at because it's but it would be a different concept where we do hire medical doctors and do a lot of anti-aging and functional medicine stuff at the same time. We're actually expanding the functional medicine side once we open up in 2013, new facility, as in we're having a compounding pharmacy inside the building with an MD or two. And then because our students would like to have a one-stop shop, so if they come for a class, they could get all their blood work done and
gotcha.
And then, if need be, get something compounded for their brain or their thyroid or whatever the case would be.
No, that's an awesome idea. Obviously, the Olympic athletes couldn't use this, but this would be for like anti-aging purposes, right?
Correct. But even with, for brain stuff, I mean, as long as it's compatible with WADA, we have formulas that the pharmacist can make. Because with compounding pharmacy, it's not always drugs, so you could take nutrients, but sometimes you need to, based on symptoms, let's say if the guy tends to break down acetylcholine too rapidly,
mm-hmm.
then we could give him uprazine, which is a natural substance from Chinese moss, which is a acetylcholine esterase inhibitor. But people don't want to take 50 different pills,
right?
So I can get a compounding pharmacist to make a powder that is quite palatable, and a teaspoon would contain 17 different brain nutrients.
Wow.
I think that
that's exciting.
The overemphasis has been on the muscle structure, but you need the brain to make those muscles fire.
Well, yeah, people don't realize the nervous system is what tells the muscles what to do, and when the muscles fatigue, it's really the nervous system that's fatiguing, is what you're saying.
Correct. But also, if you look at things like sleep disorders, and for example, we have products coming out, which is a compounded product, which is a topical GABA. So it does get absorbed through the skin, because GABA in the stomach, is neutralized, and we combine it with theanine, and we apply it on the carotid artery, and people fall asleep in matters of minutes.
Really? It's almost like Valium. It does.
Yeah, exactly. And but without the side effects and the dependence. So, and then we have compounded curcumin creams and B12 and D3, and a lot of guys that I used to coach are fathers or mothers now, and their kids have ADD or whatever. So we can, with the doctor and the compounding pharmacist, make them nutrients, because kids don't like the salt tablets. So we can make topicals out of the wazoo very effectively.
What do you think about autism? Do you have any ideas about that?
Well, autism is caused by many things. For example, the mother's cell phone use. The more the mothers use cell phone, the worse it is.
Really?
When I was a kid, there was no autistic children. It's very rare. Right. Some people have blamed it on
vaccination.
But a lot of kids get vaccinated with those same things and nothing happens.
Yeah, we got vaccinated as kids. We didn't get autism.
Yeah, and then the thing is, they've identified so far 76 risk factors linked to autism. One of them, for example, is a Wi-Fi. So if you sleep at the house and the Wi-Fi is on, that's a source of radiation. That's a factor. It's not. So it's not because you have a Wi-Fi in your house that your kid will be autistic, but you multiply that by cell phone use, gluten intolerance, dairy intolerance, soy intolerance, blah, 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 blah. There's actually a way to predict what the risks are, but the top 5 are cell phone, Wi-Fi, dairy, gluten, and soy intolerance. So it's a thing where 2 times 2 equals 16, So they compound each other, because autism was rare when I was a kid. Same thing with ADD,
You're right.
And, they've shown, for example, even the design of TV shows like SpongeBob, watching one episode of SpongeBob reduces attention span in kids. One episode.
It reduces it in me. I can't even put the thing on. It's annoying. You're right.
Yeah, but the point is that, there's one of the biggest mistakes we've made as a society is to what I call a Sesame Street syndrome. Is people have said kids have short attention span, therefore we should teach them with a short attention span. So Sesame Street would have very short clips. Well, kids have a short attention span, but the adults just train them to increase their attention span, not further nurture it. So
you think we're creating the ADD with the television programming?
Correct, but they link the increase of ADD in American society with the introduction of Sesame Street.
Wow, and the MTV generation, I blame it on that too.
Yeah, because you watch a TV show, watch a scene, count to 4, the scene has changed, the angle of the camera.
You're right.
So even all TV shows show from a different angle every 4 seconds. So what happens with that is that you train yourself to get bored with things that don't change.
You're right.
But if you go to medical school, you better concentrate for a long time.
100%. Right? You're 100% right. I never even thought of that. So you're saying that we're being brainwashed into ADD almost.
Correct. And then, but I think radiation is under affected. Fortunately, governments like Finland and Canada are starting to Canada has very strong warnings now on cell phone use.
Really? Now, how would the mother being exposed to the radiation have something to do with the kid developing autism in your mind?
Well, the radiation just damages the nervous system. I mean, for example, Finland let go of landlines a few years ago. And now Finland has the world record for brain tumors.
Wow, really? Didn't even know.
Finland they know one of the reasons why we think it's due to cell phone is that all the brain tumors occur on the dominant side of the person. So all the left brain tumors are in left-handed people, and all the right and people have brain tumors on the right side. So where they hold their cell phones. And Nokia is the phone with the highest amount of radiation in the world.
Didn't know that.
So, so the Canadian government, for example, every 6 months releases a report on radiation count of cells. And, for example, an iPhone has low radiation, but the more apps you load into it, the greater the radiation.
Really?
Well, I know people have thousands of apps on their iPhones that are completely useless. They never use, but they just collect them. Like, they'll tell you the harvest of mushrooms in Angola. Who gives a shit, But they have it on their iPhone, and then they know when their cow is going to milk next, and then they got all these things on the iPhone. Well, the iPhone now becomes quite
higher in radiation, is what you're saying.
Quite higher in radiation, quite more harmful.
I got to delete some of my apps. That's what I'm doing as soon as I get off the phone with you.
Yeah. So the ones you don't use, don't leave them out. So there's so if we start, for example, there's a very good research out of Canada. She showed that exercising and doing cardio on electronic equipment, like any one of those electronic bikes and treadmills, precipitates insulin resistance by 46%.
What? Really?
Yeah, it's on my website. I quote all the research on it. But so basically, fat people go to Gold's Gym, they hop on the treadmill or the electronic bike, and then a year later they're fatter. Well, obviously the bike makes them fatter.
Oh my God! I know.
Yeah, so that's the type of stuff we provide our students. And as years have evolved, and more conscious, of these things, and try to educate the students. For example, video games. Kids play videos of their PlayStation in their crotch. Well, that's might as well put your testicles in a microwave. So those emit radiation, and it's also linked. The more a kid is on the internet game, the lower his testosterone.
Really? That's been shown?
You can find that stuff easily on PubMed. So radiation is, the average testosterone count has decreased 1 percentage point per year since 1950.
Wow.
That's 10 years from now, boys will squat to pee. It's horrendous. And for example, in England, the average DHA sulfate is, their range is 1.4 to 1.6, right?
Right.
But that's horrendous because in Canada, normal range is 3 to 10, and 3 considered castrated. But in UK, the 3 is like you need therapy, and then 10 is healthy. So